So, grab your pencils, get some paper, and get ready. We're going to do a Picasso themed drawing.
Where does genius come from? Pablo Picasso's journey to genius began with a puff of his Uncle Salvador's cigar, so claims the man himself. It's possible this puff ignited what some historians call the rage to master, a voracious dedication to push the boundaries of one's craft. This obsessive personality led Picasso down a lifelong path of bucking established traditions.
I am not in favor of following any determined school, because that only brings about similarity among adherents.
When Picasso moved to Paris at the age of 22, he fell in with like-minded bohemians like Gertrude Stein and Henri Matisse. From this creative cauldron emerged perhaps Picasso's most famous contribution to art history, a radical style called Cubism. With displaced noses and mouths and characteristic irregular forms, Cubism nicely encapsulated Picasso's aesthetic worldview.
A picture used to be a sum of additions. With me, a picture is a sum of destructions.
So it was throughout his career. Picasso constantly reinvented his style at a rapid pace. He created thousands of innovative sculptures, drawings, etchings, ceramics, and paintings. Neuroscientists have discovered that imagery like Picasso's invites viewers into the creative process with the artist. We relish taking incomplete clues and filling in the missing details. Picasso had an instinct for this dynamic long before science corroborated it.
The picture lives only through the man who is looking at it.
So, Picasso did a lot of portraits, but what we're gonna do today is we're gonna fill a paper with some items that are special to you, and basically we're going to make a cubist style piece of art. What you're gonna do is you could either follow along with me or find your own specific things that you like or things that are important to you, so that you can draw them on your paper. This is what we're first going to start off with. So I use a lot of computers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw just a giant computer on my paper. This is going to be my laptop. It doesn't have to be perfect, because if you notice with Picasso style's art, his artwork style is very abstract. So here's my laptop that I'm looking at right now, that I'm recording on. Just gonna draw these very abstract lines. Might be kind of hard to see this, but you'll get the idea once I have everything down. Okay, so this is my laptop, and draw something else. Let's see, maybe I can draw this Apple Watch. I'm gonna make it really big, kind of have it go into the corner, but I'm gonna overlap my items. So this is gonna be the middle of my watch, like that. And then I'm gonna draw the little hands, or the parts that wrap around your wrist, like this. And what else? And maybe just a coffee mug. I'll put a coffee mug over here. I like coffee. I don't drink it as much as maybe a lot of other people, but I'm just gonna make a coffee mug like this. This is totally made up. I'm not drawing it from a picture. I'm just kind of thinking about what a coffee mug looks like. On the top, it's kind of open like this. Okay, so once you have your 2 or 3 items that are drawn, we're going to make lines that are just going to intersect through our whole picture, straight lines. You can use a ruler, you can use I have a paintbrush here. You could use a straight edge, basically a book or anything, and just kind of draw some lines that go through your image. This will kind of make sense a little bit later. Don't be afraid to overlap, do some lines that go through your picture in different ways. If you haven't noticed already, we're doing more abstract art today. It's not as focused on getting things precise and exact. Now it's more about how to use lines in a creative way to make something that's unique to your life. Okay, so making these lines, make sure you get the image broken up pretty well into different pieces. Don't try not to make it basically you want to make it look like the actual objects that you drew, they're not there anymore. With Cubist art, we're like basically breaking the rules of reality and doing something a little bit different. Try not to make all your lines go and converge in the middle, because that'll make it obvious that we're trying to do something obvious. But I'm moving my paintbrush around to different areas so that I can break apart the image as much as possible. Put some more lines through this coffee mug so that it's broken up pretty well. Do another one through this watch. There you go. Maybe one more here, just so I can get a little bit more separation. So we're doing this in pure black and white because zoom in a little bit. And can rotate this camera. Right? Pure black and white. I'm gonna move myself to the corner here. Actually, I'm gonna get rid of myself because. Alright, so once you have this, we're gonna start shading, okay? And with our shading, we're gonna focus on the parts of our image, basically making a gradient from the outside image of the shapes to the inside. You'll kind of see as I start to do this what that looks like. So make sure also when you're doing this to cover your whole paper, otherwise it won't have the same effect. So we're not filling our shapes, we're giving our shapes a little bit of shading from the sides. Not all the sides, but from some of the sides. And the technique of shading that I'm using is just lines. Straight lines going in the same direction, and as I get closer to the middle of the shape, I put less pressure on the pencil, and on the edges of the shape I'll put more pressure on the pencil. This is a fun way to just doodle if you're bored too. But this is what is deemed as Cubism, originally kind of pioneered by Pablo Picasso, who we're learning about right now. And I also encourage you to start from the middle and move towards the outside when you're doing this. And don't always use the same edges that you're shading. This lesson could really be done by anyone. It's a pretty universal style. It's not for someone who's, you don't have to be extremely good at this or at art to do this. Pretty much anyone can do it, which is nice. If you want to blend a little bit more, you can use your finger to blend the areas together to get a little bit more smoothness with your gradients. And if you didn't know already, a gradient is basically what it looks like for a color or a basically a shade to go from dark to light. So this is a gradient that we're creating on every corner of our drawing here. The darkest part is the dark of the gradient, obviously, and then it goes all the way to white or to a light color. And just like that, you have a cubist piece of art. Took a little bit of time, but yeah. Now you can orient it whatever way you want to. People don't have to know that you started off with a coffee mug, a computer, and a Apple Watch. You can trick them into thinking that you are just an amazing abstract artist. Feel free to send pictures of your art, and we will see you next time.